Hey, Chicken Kara, do you know what time it is? Ugh, I'm too tired for this. I don't know where my phone is.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Vince, do you know what time it is?
It's, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow. I need to go home and go to bed. I already cleaned up the other room, so that one should be good to go. So that just leaves this mess. Hey, do you know where Cow Cole and Farmer Mo went? They said that they would help us before they left.
Maybe this is clean for them.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess you're right. They do live on a farm. So Vince, did you have fun at the kids' planned New Year's Eve party?
I guess so.
What? How can your answer be anything less than 100%? Absolutely, I had a blast!
I don't know, I guess I'm just not excited for this new year.
How come?
Well, I feel like I haven't really done anything in 2022, so I'm not ready for 2023 to be here already.
But starting a new year is so exciting. There are so many opportunities ahead of us. Just watch. This year is going to be great.
Yeah, maybe.
Vince, come on. This is supposed to be a great time. We're supposed to be celebrating.
Do you really think 2022 was awesome, Hannah?
Of course it was. I think you're just nervous about change, and that's making you forget just how many cool things we got to do and see in the year of 2022.
Yeah, like what?
Vince, I know what you need. I know what all of us need.
Some sleep?
No, well, yeah, well, probably, but I'm talking about the best of 2022. You're totally forgetting that we got to do some crazy cool things, like when you got to show us around your hometown.
Okay, I'll admit, that was actually pretty fun. You're right, Chicken Carrot. We'll have to invite you the next time the film team comes out and visits.
Or there was that time we got to look into the future and see what we would look like when we're old and gray.
Oh, well hi there, kiddos.
Hi.
Just came to bring this back.
Hey sis, what'd you bring?
Do you remember those treats we had when we were kids?
I love those treats, and they have such an important story to go with them.
Yeah, I guess that series was pretty cool.
Yeah, and there was that time we got to go to camp.
Wait a second, aren't you the one that wasn't excited to go to camp when you found out that your friends couldn't go?
That's true, but you helped me make new friends, and it turned out to be a really great time.
You know, we've actually made a lot of new friends last year.
Now you're getting it. Who were some of your favorite characters that you met from 2022?
Well, obviously I loved Mr. Curiosity and Miss Wonder. And Brandon.
Whoa!
Hey, Brandino.
Hey, Miss C and Mr. W.
More like Miss W and Mr. C. Most definitely. And of course, we got to see Professor Hannah Stein again, and we met our new favorite little genius, Kid Question.
Quick question.
Kid Question? What are you doing there?
I'm here to ask questions, of course.
You know, now that I'm thinking about some of the new faces we saw throughout the year, our story series brought us a ton of new characters. Alas, me loyal comrades, I must bid you all adieu. That sure was one handsome pirate captain.
I don't know about you, Vince, but I personally loved getting to wear the fun and cool costumes this year.
Yeah, that has been pretty entertaining to say the least.
I wonder what costumes we'll get to wear this year.
Yeah, we could be anything. Maybe I'll even dress up like an evil scientist again.
I will give each of you 3 choices to build a cookie concoction, and you will take a bite to try to guess the ingredients. All right, bon appetit.
I think I just lost my appetite. Vince, I said nothing weird.
Ugh, do you know what evil scientist Vince makes me think of?
That disgusting smell coming off the snack I tried to make you eat.
Ew, no. I was thinking about the fact that we actually met a lot of villains this year.
Well, we did have an entire series about them.
Well, I'm B-Jax.
No. You don't know me just yet. The name, Chicken Johnny.
We're looking for Farmer Mo. So, is that you?
Yes?
Wait, you look familiar.
I'm the one and only Cow Cole.
That's why I became Hannah Dangerous.
But the most exciting part was getting to see Hannah Danger save the day.
You got that right.
Danger.
Hey, what about the new faces we got to see at X Camp?
Oh, good one, Vince.
Bro, welcome to the Sunshine State of California, my dudes and dudettes. Yo, Vinny here, coming to you live from New York. I am Vincenzo, reporting here from one of the food capitals of the world.
Like, no way, it's the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty.
I'm Vance, signing off, my dudes. Speaking of X Camp, how much fun was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did someone just say fun?
Okay, yes, fine. 2022 was fun.
Woohoo! I win!
Well, you're gonna love what I'm gonna say next.
What?
I'm actually really excited for X Camp this year.
Well, that's not surprising because it is the best week of summer.
Wow, X Camp is the best.
I know, I love it.
You know, Hannah, I think you were right earlier. I let the fact that I was nervous about this next year and that I don't know what's coming down the road cloud my judgment and forgot how much fun we actually had in 2022 with Kids Planet.
That's okay, Vince. There's still time to celebrate. What fun things are you remembering right now?
Well, I'm thinking about all the awesome places we got to see this year. Like, obviously, we talked about visiting my hometown, but we also got to see some really cool spots this year.
That's so true, Vince. Our Kids Planet videos took us to so many places we haven't gotten to visit before in our videos. I think my favorite would have to be, when I got to drive out to the Jimenez and show everyone that tunnel that I remember driving through since I was a little kid.
And Miss Wonder and Mr. Curiosity showed us a ton of amazing spots.
They really did show us so many beautiful places. Plus, Miss Wonder and Mr. Curiosity taught us some very important lessons.
I totally agree. It was so cool seeing new places, learning new things together, and finishing the series knowing that God loves when we ask questions.
We all know that the best place to look for the answers to these questions is in the Bible.
But sometimes those answers are hard to understand. That's because God is way bigger, way smarter, and way more powerful than any of us could ever imagine.
You know, I really loved when we got to learn about how kids can do big things. And we even got to see just how many times in the Bible that kids were a huge part in God's plan.
I love that lesson. I also think we got to learn so much about choices this year.
We really did. This year at X Camp, we talked about choices that Daniel made, and then we looked at some other people in the Bible with big choices to make after that.
We have so many important choices to make in our lives, but this summer, we learned about a few key choices that the Bible tells us that we should make.
Even when it isn't easy, we need to choose to be a good friend. We can all choose to forgive, even when it isn't easy. The Bible has many, many stories that teach us how important it is to choose to do the right thing.
Even when it's hard.
Or scary.
Even when our friends want us to do the wrong thing.
Vince, I figured out something that could help with how you've been feeling a little nervous about this new year.
What's that, Hannah?
We need to choose to trust God because God keeps his promises. It's like the Bible says in Romans. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose.
I love that verse, and I think you're making a really good point, Hannah. God and his promises to us are much bigger and more important than any of the worries that I've been letting weigh me down. In fact, I think some chapters in Exodus show us how God keeps his promises, even when we don't see it right away.
Exactly. The book of Exodus has so many great stories. Which one are you thinking of?
Well, I actually have a few stories in mind, but I'd start with talking about the Israelites and the Red Sea.
Oh yeah! Actually, some of the kids might remember this story. God helped the Israelites escape from Egypt so that they would no longer be slaves.
But Pharaoh had changed his mind about letting them go, so he and his men chased after the Israelites to make them slaves once again. And this really scared the Israelites.
Here, Vince. How about you read that part from the Bible?
And they said to Moses, "Why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness? Weren't there enough graves for us in Egypt? What have you done to us? Why did you make us leave Egypt?"
The Israelites totally doubted God and his promises because they were afraid.
Exactly. But of course, God was watching out for them the whole time, and he had proved that in miraculous ways.
One of the ways that God proved that was when he parted the Red Sea.
Isn't that crazy? Imagine just walking between two walls of water. God totally showed the Israelites that he wanted them to be safe.
You would think that was the last time they doubted God, but it wasn't, right?
Nope. I don't think they were ready to believe that God keeps his promises. It's almost like they forgot or even stopped believing that God keeps his promises. See, the Promised Land was almost like a legend at this point. It was a promise that was made so long ago, and families had been passing the story of the promise down through so many generations that at this point, it might have seemed like just that, a story.
That's true. The Israelites might have had a hard time having faith that God was still looking out for them and that the Promised Land was even real.
I think that all the hard things that the Israelites had been through, like being slaves in Egypt for so many years, kept them from seeing the truth. God keeps his promises.
But even though the Israelites would doubt God and complain every time, God tried to show them in the small ways that he was still watching out for them.
Wait, I know the next part I want to read. So we skip ahead a little bit, and the Israelites are tired and thirsty because they've gone 3 whole days without a drink of water. The only water that they had been able to find was way too bitter to drink. Listen to what happens next. "What are we going to drink?" they demanded. So Moses cried out to the Lord for help, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. Moses threw it into the water, and this made the water good to drink.
See, God gave them another miracle when he told Moses to use the piece of wood to make the water good enough to drink. I don't know about you, but I have never seen any wood make delicious drinking water.
Well, the Israelites didn't see things that way. They kept complaining.
Of course.
But we can read this story and see that God was watching after the people of Israel and providing for them.
And then in Exodus chapter 16, the Israelites complained some more and even blamed God for the bad things happening to them. If only the Lord had killed us back in Egypt, they moaned. There we sat around pots filled with meat and ate all the bread we wanted. But now you have brought us into this wilderness to starve us all to death. But God still provided for them. When they were in the middle of the desert with no food in sight, God brought them quail and bread, not because they deserved it or because they had incredible faith that they earned this kind of gift from God, but simply because God loved them.
And God provided them with this bread called manna for years and years to come. Can I read that next verse? So the people of Israel ate manna for 40 years until they arrived at the land where they would settle. Now, that sounds like a long time. As their punishment for being so impatient and always complaining and ultimately not trusting God, He had them wander the desert for 40 years.
You know, we could read many more stories like these where the Israelites wandered the desert complaining and continuing to live without patience or trusting God.
But eventually, just like God promised, the Israelites made it to the promised land, and it was amazing. The Bible tells us that it was a land flowing with milk and honey, which was a big deal because they hadn't had delicious food like that in a very long time.
Having milk and honey was an exciting thing for the people of Israel. Plus, they finally had a land to call home, the land they were promised so long ago.
Actually, I'd like to read a verse where we finally get to see God let the Israelites know that they can enter the promised land. In this verse, God spoke to Joshua, who was the assistant of Moses, and this is after Moses had died. So Joshua had become the one in charge. Listen to what God said. Moses, my servant, is dead. Therefore, the time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land I am giving them. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set foot, you will be on land I have given you.
The promised land was a promise made by God long before the Pharaoh or Moses or Joshua. And even after all those years, God kept that promise.
It can definitely be easy to forget what God has already done and what He's promised to do for all of us. When life isn't going our way, when we're disappointed, or when we're just tired of waiting, we need to remember not to get caught up in the doubt and lies like the Israelites did.
Exactly. Instead, it's our job to remember God keeps His promises.
You know, Hannah, I have to thank you because you really helped me look at this new year in a whole new way. I'm excited to see what comes next, and I know that even when I'm not looking forward to things, I can look to the Bible for the promises that God has already made to us and know that God keeps His promises.
That's awesome, Vince. I think all of us need reminders of God's promises when we're going through a tough time. One of my favorite promises from God is from Isaiah 41:10, which says, "Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand."
That is such an encouraging verse. Great choice, Hannah.
Thanks. So Kids Planet, this week we're challenging you to find a verse in the Bible with your family, just like the one I shared, so that it can be a promise from God that you'll look back on when you're having a tough time.
Awesome idea, Hannah. I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with.
I'm so excited for this year. I just know that 2023 will have so many opportunities for us to learn new things together in Kids Planet.
And see new places.
And meet new people. Oh, sorry, Chicken Kara. You were just so quiet. I think we forgot that you were there.
Oh, don't worry. We could never forget about our favorite Kids Planet characters.
Well, I think it's time I go get some rest to start off this year strong, or my sleep schedule may never recover.
Totally agree. So that's it for today, but I can confidently say that we're gonna have a great time together in 2023, Kids Planet. Happy New Year!